Hello everyone and welcome back to Run It Up number 62. We are here today playing some 50-cent $1 no limit Texas Hold'em over on ultimatepoker.com. And yeah, that's it. We're still kind of rocking a costume to some degree. Not as quite as amazing as yesterday's. If you haven't seen yesterday's video yet, you'll probably want to check that out. It was a pretty good one. We've had a couple of good videos this week, actually. We had a good one on Monday, Run It Up number 60. And then today, 3 Run It Ups in a row. We're on a little bit of a heater. We're on at least a 3-game winning streak, right? Friday, Monday, Tuesday, I think we all won. Maybe even before that. So hopefully we can keep that alive. I've only been playing this Orbit. Managed to win a sweet $4 so far in profit. Rounding up. Yes, that's right. Optimism. And yeah, don't think we know too many of our opponents here. None of these players. Oh, that's quite the re-raise. None of these players seem familiar to me. Quinella we recognize, of course. Let's see these cards. All right. I'm rooting for an ace. Let's see. All right. Well, that guy definitely just seemed like he wanted to fire it on in there. Lucky for the 10s that he had a hand as good as 10s. Poor old Richard Nixon over there. Didn't work out for you that time. All right. 4-handed poker game. Queen 4 of hearts. This might not be a bad idea to raise and attack, but I don't know either of these opponents yet, so we'll play a little bit more conservative. We could also consider calling, but I think, we'll start discipline, Gotta start somewhere tight before we know like who to attack. We don't know exactly what to do. That's a very scary avatar. Also has the name there. Whoever the heck Eddie Felson is. Could be his real name. Could be a character. I have no idea. So I think that's pretty much what's going on. I've just been working, usual, same thing, nothing too exciting there. Been this weekend coming up is it this weekend coming up? No, next weekend. What is today? Today is this Halloween this week, and then November starts. I think actually the next UFC event is there one? I think there's a fight night. It's like Henderson versus Vitor, right? It's like early November. Is that the next UFC fight? I'm bricking on it. I know there's 2 in Vegas actually in November. The GSP Hendricks fight, and there's another one too. It's the tough finale. So lucky me, Here we are, Las Vegas, Ultimate Poker. Beautiful perks, Raised it up here with 8-5 puppy dog feet. Our opponent had posted, I believe. Not the best flop in the world, but, our opponent probably isn't going to hit that flop too often. You'd imagine if he had a hand that was really any good, he would probably have just raised, not checked. So if our opponent check calls, I am probably going to keep my foot on the gas pedal. Thankfully, he just says, please, I surrender, and pieces out there. 4 deuce diamonds. I suppose we can raise. Do I love it? No, I don't love it, but how bad could it be, really? I mean, we do know this guy is the most reggy, but I don't remember him being particularly aggressive. He might be, but I don't remember that. We get 2 customers in the blinds. Sweet little flop there for the old 4 Dewey of blue. We just connected real well. And I guess that's the end of that one. So that might have been a little bit too loose. And it definitely was very loose. But, I think we can get away with that kind of stuff. We have position. We don't think anyone's going to be particularly aggressive. I think we can probably show a profit or close to it. Would I open that in 100K? Probably not. But, I feel like we can get away with things like that at these tables against people we don't know that well. Let's see what happens here. Against open this big, we probably just have to fold. With a call in between, we could consider. Unfortunately, it's a different Richard Nixon. I was like, oh, he's back for more. No, not quite. All right. Discipline. That's right. How'd you like to have the deuce 3 hearts on an ace queen ace flop? No? Not loving it? Weird. That's real weird. Somebody out there was mad. Somebody out there was like, just calling me a nit. What a nit bitch. Hey, deuce 3 suited. I just mucked it, It's supposedly one of Doyle's favorite hands, but I'm pretty sure he just said that to make people play deuce 3 suited. He wrote in Super System, Back in, what was it, like 1942 when he wrote that book, he wrote that, Deuce 3 suited was great because it cracked people's big hands. And it's probably even actually, it probably was better back like 50 years ago to play that kind of hands. And I mean, I'm joking obviously with age a little bit, but even like 30 years ago when people were much tighter, generally speaking, it probably was even more profitable to play like little baby cards like that and like low suited connectors, things like that, because people probably, didn't ever realize they could fold. There was no mathematical knowledge whatsoever as far as like how often people could have certain hands, and I would imagine that you could do some work, especially in games as deep as they were playing. They weren't playing 100 big blind deep. They were playing, I would imagine, significantly deeper at times when they were playing No Limit, which was, I think Doyle's entire book was No Limit, wasn't it? Guess we just fold here. I like the game. The game seems good. It seems like a good, profitable game for us little leprechaun sheriffs over here. Yes, that's right. You can see the little hat over there hanging up. That's right. I hung my hat over on that little thing over there. I got to find a more permanent place for it amongst the Run It Up headquarters over here. A place of honor, of course. How could we not? The old Conor McGregor hat. I thought I did a pretty good job all in all of the whole outfit. The beard was a little crazy. The beard was a little like dwarven, or somebody said it was like Orthodox Jewish, which is, it was very close. those things. So I am aware that the beard was a little off, but everything else was really pretty close. I thought I was pretty proud of it all in all, considering I'm not exactly a costume professional. Shocker. Oh, all right. Look at that action little turn card there. Best hand didn't win, unfortunately. All right, over to the small blind we go. Oh, sorry, button. My eyes are clearly great. That was great. I don't even know what that was. I was like, oh, all right, sure. I guess I missed that he was sitting out. I don't even know how I messed that up so badly. All right, I call. I'll put $1 in the machine. I don't have $1 sitting around to give to the camera. I only... No, I can do this. Does this count? This is way more than I want to put in. Oh, maybe not. All right. 5-7 offsuit, just doing work here. If somebody bets, we have a decision between calling and raising. I think that I will be inclined to raise if it is one of these fellas. Because, let's be real, what kind of hands do these guys have that beats us right now? What does he have, Queen 7 suited? Don't think so. What do you got? Ace Queen? I beat Ace Queen. What do you got? Doesn't make a lot of sense that he could have something that's like too strong or beats us. But yeah, pocket 5s and limped? Again, I don't buy it. Doesn't make sense to me. So, could we have made it a little bit smaller? Yeah, we could have. But I think if these guys had anything that was like King Queen, maybe even like, any Queen might be tempted to call. And any kind of draw might call. And who knows what else. But I felt pretty confident we had the best hand there. And if it was just heads up, maybe I'd do something else. But I think with a bet and a call, I think raising is reasonable enough. Up a sweet old $14. Let's pull some viewer questions, huh? Let's pull some viewer questions. If you've got a question for me, don't forget, you can email me, dearjcarver@gmail.com, and you might see your question answered on Run It Up. That's right. Could happen. I've been getting through a lot of them lately, and the pile is slightly dwindling. So let's not. If you've been holding off sending me a question, now's the time. All right, let's see what we got here under the gun. All right, dear J. Carver. Hello, dear J. Carver. I seem to have a difficult time figuring out when to leave a cash game session. I seem to get caught up in the grind and lose more than I should as a result. Do you have any tips that could help me avoid this problem? Thanks, Chris Oreo. All right, well, thank you, Chris Oreo. Orio? Or O-R-I-O. Orio. I like, I'm sure you get called Chris Oreo all the time, which you must probably hate. At least I didn't call you a girl, though. Poor Courtney. And I said that when I read the question for our poor Run It Up warrior. That's right. I'm sure you're a warrior out there. I feel bad. I have at least one male friend named Court. or Courtney, who he shortens to Court. I at least have one friend that does that, and it did cross my mind after. So apologies to the Dear J Carver from Dear J Carver from Monday, who wrote me an email, and I accidentally misidentified your gender. Apologies, sir. And as far as your question goes, Chris, you asked me, you get caught and lose more than you should. Do you have any tips on quitting? So tips on quitting. I think that the best way to be, I guess we have to fold this, sad as this is. The best way that I can advise you to quit is to try to keep your fingers on the pulse of, that's right, how do I like this? The fingers on the pulse of the game, right? I think that that's the best way to quit. If you're really, really good at keeping track of like who's winning, who's losing, who's got momentum, who's got initiative, how are you feeling? How are you doing? Like how are you like anticipating, and like, how are people reacting to what you're doing? Is your strategy really well known, or is it kind of up in the air? Like, I think that if you're constantly conscious of, there you go, constantly conscious of what's going on, who's doing what, by the way, I'm a little sad about this because we've now bet, and I don't really want to bet, but because I think this guy's got a jack here often enough. He probably doesn't have an ace too often, but I think we just give up. I feel like this guy's probably not folding. I mean, it's going to be really sad if he just has like queen 10 of spades or something like that, but I think that he probably wasn't going to fold a jack on the river unless we really bombed it, and I wasn't really too confident that that was going to happen. Anyway, as far as quitting goes, so yeah, we're talking about like keeping track of like who's winning, who's losing, who's feeling good, who's feeling bad, who's on the phone talking to their wife, and the wife's getting all pissed because they're out at the casino all night. Like, I think that keeping aware of those things will really, really, really make you good at quitting, because if you're aware that you're not feeling good, you're losing pots, you're steaming, your raises aren't working, your bets aren't working, people are like, the conditions of the game have just shifted in a way that are not profitable for you, or you're at a precipice where you're starting to get tilted a little bit, but you're not really, but you're like, you're feeling yourself starting to get upset and annoyed and anxious or distracted or whatever it is. And once you see that, you can go, all right, let's go quit and go to bowling practice or whatever it is you have to go do instead. Like, I think that you really want to make sure that you're constantly aware of those things. And if you're good at that, I think that you'll find that is the best skill to know whether or not you should or should not stay in a game. Now, generally speaking, more so than just the whole like pulse conversation that we just had, I think that you want to be specifically aware of, like, if you feel like too often you'll be winning, and then you'll lose a lot and then quit. Well, you should identify like what has happened to make that happen. Like, it could just be variance, right? Remember that people's memories of playing a lot and losing, that will stick in your memory more than playing a lot, losing a little bit and quitting, or winning a lot, winning even more, and then quitting. Like, people remember the losses better than the wins, which is just like how the human brain works. And you want to make sure you're aware of that and ignore that, right? So you want to try to overcome that and just kind of keep yourself like mentally level. Is there a real problem? If there is a real problem and you really think that something is going on that is causing you not to either win less or lose more than you should be, then definitely look at it. I recommend Tommy Angelo's stuff is fantastic on off-table things, including quitting and stuff like that. And he talks about quitting as a skill of poker. Like, let's say that me and my friend Leprechaun Jay Carver, the sheriff, we're both poker players, and let's say that we're both equally skilled, except for when both of us lose aces versus whatever preflop, I go from being a 10 out of 10 to being a 8.5 out of 10 at poker. And my leprechaun friend over there has a bit of a temper, and he goes from 10 out of 10 to like a 4 out of 10 and just tilts his mind off every time he loses with aces preflop. that's a pretty significant edge, right? Because we both lose the same amount when we lose with aces, right? We both lose the same amount of money. However, when the next like 50 hands go off, I'm still playing relatively well, and my friend over there, Leprechaun Angry J Carver, is just spewing like not like you wouldn't believe, and he becomes maybe even efficient in the game at that point because he's losing, right? Does that make sense? So you can look at it that way, and perhaps your opponents are all worse at quitting than you are, in which case then even if you're not great, it's not really a big thing to worry about. You can still work on improving it, but I actually think that one of the best things you can do in poker if you're really looking to improve is to think of every single thing in that kind of a lens, right? Think through everything through that kind of a lens where it's like, well, what would my opponents have done in this exact situation? Would my opponents have noticed this? Would my opponents have made this decision? Would my opponents have done these things? Have I made decisions worse than my opponents, and all of those sorts of things? And if you can accumulate those edges and identify and expand those edges that you have over your opponents, that's how you make money at poker. Even if those things are as simple as like, I never miss a hand of poker, I always make it back from my breaks promptly on time, but somebody else doesn't. That's an edge you've got there. That's a nice little edge you've got there. And you want to accumulate as many of those cool little things as you can, and then you'll be crushing it in no time. You'll be drilling it like you're my first instinct was to go sexual with that, but then I was like, that's not really, it's not really great, and then I was trying to think of like a mechanic sort of person that would be a good example of a thing like that, and then couldn't think of one of those either. Anyway, in Pokerland, I'll think about my metaphor in a moment. In Pokerland, I decided to float here on this flop. I think that, well, I'm probably going to just give up here, but I thought that there is a good chance that if the turn card was a card, that our opponent was at least somewhat likely to just check and fold. Against a pot-sized bet on the turn, like if this wasn't run it up, or if this was like a video challenge, like I would love to shove over this guy's turn bet. Because, like, what are you doing, guy? Like, what do you got over there you're so happy about? You got yourselves like, okay, yeah. Well, I guess we weren't winning that hand with the old 9-8 of spades. That was going to be kind of tough. But I thought that there was, I guess against his actual hand, we probably were not going to accomplish too much. But I was a little confused as to what to make of his turn bet. I suppose that shoving would not have worked, by the way. At least probably not. It could have worked, but I didn't really particularly read his play to be like as strong as like a set, or even like necessarily ace king. He could have a hand like ace king, but I wasn't really sure he had a hand that was that good. I'm a little surprised that he had queens and played it that way, like pot. All right, I guess that makes some sense. Deciding to bet on this flop here seems reasonable enough. We get a customer in Richard Nixon II over there. And the raise. Small raise. All right. Well, I don't really want to call. We've got this guy behind us, it's kind of sucks. If it was heads up and I bet $6 and he did this, I would be not going anywhere. I'd be buckling my seatbelts, but I think against this guy who's just, he's probably check raising here with such like, first of all, I really doubt he has hearts and check raises that small because, that's not a thing people do too often. He could, of course, if there's one thing you've learned in these videos, hopefully, is that anything is possible. And you should never say can't. It's always possibly, likely, could, maybe. So I think that it's possible that guy could have just been bluffing us, but I kind of doubt it. It made it kind of small. Why would you attack two people that were just, why would you attack that? What have we done to make this guy all of a sudden decide to be like, oh, well, I'm going to get these fucking guys? Nothing has happened to make that a real likely possibility. So I think that he's at least somewhat likely to have either a jack. I don't think he has a draw too often. I think he's either somewhat likely to have a jack. Maybe he has a set. Maybe he has two pair. Although I would be a little surprised if he had two pair because, again, he made it kind of small. In this particular hand, this fellow over here decided to start us off with a limp, and we just were nice enough to allowed us to see a flop in the big blind over here. We have managed to make jack, 5, and 5. So we are not going to fold on the turn here. However, if our opponent bets a lot, I don't really want to check raise because I'm slightly afraid of our opponent having a hand that is better than ours. He did limp pre-flop though. I mean, let's be real. The problem with check calling is that I don't want to just check on rivers, right? I don't want to check call and then check on river and let him just check back with like ace 8. So I thought if I check raised small on the turn, there was some chance that we were going to do the old... That's right. That's right. That's what I wanted to accomplish. And he just didn't want to cooperate with me on that. So, you know, I tried. I tried to make more money, but did not work out for us. Pocket kings here over on the button. Let's see if we can get some action from somebody. Please, somebody. I feel like this game has not exactly been super aggressive pre-flop, so I decided to make it a little bit bigger and didn't think that would impact this guy's decision too much. We get to play a little bit bigger pot in position. All right. I would like to bet $4 that we have the best hand dealer. All right. Well, I suppose I was correct. Unfortunately correct that he did not have anything that wanted to play. All right, 6 and 7. I suppose we can just fold. Fuck it. I raise, you know? That's right. Let's raise it up. Who cares, you know? We'll do it. We'll get the job done. I'm not worried. We'll do our best to get the job done this end. That's all I know. $3 makes sense. Betting $4 here probably doesn't accomplish anything more than $3 does, right? If we bet $4, he hasn't folded an ace, right? That just doesn't happen. So if we bet $3, we just save ourselves $1 there, I think, versus betting 4. Against a small check range, which now we've seen this guy do twice, so we're starting to get a little bit of a profile on this player over here. Again, if it was heads up, I would really strongly consider doing something. But with a guy behind us who I think is like relatively good, I'm a little hesitant to call and let this guy just call behind. So we'd have to like re-raise, and it's at least somewhat possible that this guy's got like ace x of spades, ace 3, ace 7, or like, you know, some sort of like combo draw with spades in there. Crazy that people are folding the check raises so often over there. That is nuts. One of the advantages, by the way, to being a run-it-up warrior, you know, I'm sure you've got your RIU tattoo on your hand there, but you know, most people won't be aware that you're a run-it-up warrior. So you can get away with so much stuff, you know, if you just like commit yourself to learning some, you know, Jay Carver jiu-jitsu over here, and you know, take that knowledge to the old whatever tables that you've got in your area. I think you'll find that things like that, where it's like if you're smart enough to be like, oh, this is a board that probably isn't connecting much, and the first player is the kind of guy who likes to say fuck it, raise with 6-7 offsuit. If you can identify these things, how do you like that? If you can identify these things, I'm like, okay, sure. You can definitely have a nice and smooth and easy path to profit and good glory, wonderful days, you know, ahead for you if you can accomplish those things. So I think that you know, if you watch these videos with the intention of like, you know, either getting better at poker or to try to improve, which, you know, I suppose there is some percentage of you that do these things. I think that spots like that, and you've seen me do some things like that are just like attacking people for just making mistakes and putting them in cages that they really can't fight their way out of very often. So I think the moral of the story is don't be afraid. Put them in the cage, you know? That's right. Put them in the cage, lock the door, say, all right, thanks for playing. Thanks for playing. Peace. Deuces. That's right. How much would you guys like my sign off if that was what it was instead of peace? That was like, thanks for watching. Deuces. You guys would love it, wouldn't you? Love it. I'm not even necessarily sure how I came up with peace, generally speaking. I have a couple friends that, like, clownily, jokily said, like, peace a couple times, you know, and I thought that was kind of funny, so that's what it happened to be. But I wasn't even necessarily sure I was going to do it for all the time, and then it became a thing that I did all the time. So now, you know, here we are, running up to 62, where, like, probably 60 of the 62 episodes have that sign-off, so I guess that's stuck with us now. I don't really hate it, though. You know, I like it. It's peace, love, warmth, tolerance. No, we're all here for one, you know, hang out, have fun, play some poker. It's great. It's a great combination of things, you know. Peace is not a bad sign off. I don't mind it. I've come around. I've decided to defend here with the old Jack and 8 of spades in the small blind, not because I think this is like in a vacuum great thing to do. Like, I wouldn't say to do this when you're playing your mom next week in like your weekly family home game. Like, this is not necessarily a good defend. However, I feel like this guy is just probably going to make some mistakes against us post flop, and can't make him make mistakes unless you start with a call. Let's see a flop and check and raise. Pretty good turn card for us, I think. I mean, like, I find it kind of hard to imagine that this player is going to be able to continue here too often. I'm trying to pick a size that will get him to fold a hand like 2 9s. No, 2 9s probably aren't folding. Maybe a hand like... I mean, honestly, a hand like Ace Queen would be a kind of a hand that I would love to see him fold here, that he would probably play exactly the same way. I think that makes sense that he would fold a hand like that. But not 100%. All right, cool. Got it done. Huh? Hey, the Bink Bell. Gotta break it out. Who knows if we get another opportunity to hit the old Bink Bell, you know? Gotta celebrate, you know? Not even celebrate. It's not a celebration. It's a, you know... All right, maybe it's a little bit of a celebration. But it's not, you know... It's not like a... all I'm going to say is that, like, if we had the Bink Bell for run it up 44, when that guy was, like, you know, talking some smack over there, that's a perfect kind of person to use the Bink Bell on. However, you know, normal people that are just here having fun, it's not an aggressive type of thing, you know? I'm not using my middle finger over there to smash the bell. It's very, you know, it's like a friendly thing. It's a hoorah. That's right. There you go. That's what it is. Whatever you say, Jay Carver. Moron! Shut up! You're not my dad! That's right. Although I kind of am, you know, you're all my running up warrior children, right? Kind of. Depending on how creative you are. You could be, you know? Technically speaking. You know, how do you guys like my Los Pollos Hermanos? Yes, that's right. That's what I've got on right now. If you don't know the reference, I'm not explaining it to you. If you know the reference, you know, you get points in my book, of course. But not like it's even that obscure of a reference. But, you know, just one of the best TV shows of all time. No big deal or nothing, you know. Let's pull a viewer question. I feel like it's time. Oh... all right. Ha. There are a couple of good ones in this pile here. Okay. Dear Jay Carver. And then he wrote, hi, Jason. And a smiley face. And he wrote, :D. See that? Hi, Jason. :D. Can you guys see that? Probably not. Never mind. It's :D. I like that smiley face. Another really good smiley face, XD. That's right. This little grinder. How you guys like that one? I'm just gonna write it. What are they gonna say? No one's gonna say anything. XD, you know? That's it. What can you say? Great. It's a big smiley face. How can you not love it? It's great. I'm also a big fan of this one. That's another great one. You know? But yeah, you know, you have to be a certain kind of person to understand what I'm trying to express by writing smiley faces like that, you know? It's not you know, I don't mean it the same way like my mother would mean it. Anyway. I don't know if that made any sense to anybody out there, but I feel like it's true. Maybe somebody got it. Maybe didn't get it. All right, let's move on to the question. Remember that time somebody asked me a question about focus? Boy, what a silly question to ask this guy. That's right, this guy. All right. 610 of blue. I guess we just say adieu. All right. So, you shouldn't start sentences with so. What kind of school did you go to, sir? So, I'm wondering, because you always talk about all the time you've got and the time you don't got. Just in number 46, you mentioned that you only have like 30 minutes a month of high-stakes sessions. That's really true, and actually that's mostly actually even a lie, because the last 6 months I haven't really even played any real high-stakes sessions. What's the highest I've played in the last 6 months? 100, 200 online. Yeah, that's true. Ultimate Poker. 100, 200 was running over the summer. And even 50, 100 was running over the summer. It was great. But I think since August, I don't think I've played any high-stakes poker. I've done some high-stakes gamblings, that's true, but I haven't done any high-stakes poker. No, don't think I have. Don't think I have. I would love to, but, I just haven't got myself into a spot where I could sufficiently gamble for a size that would interest me and not have to travel too far to do it. But, I love poker, man. I'm never going to quit poker entirely. Like, I've shifted priorities perhaps in the last 3 months, which is true, and I'm very happy about it. It's great. I love what's going on right now. I got some business things going on. I've got some poker business things as well, separately from that. We've got Run It Up, which is a blast, and I wouldn't be making videos on YouTube every single day if I wasn't enjoying it, obviously. And it's awesome to see so many people also enjoy them. I'm going to raise here because I also am enjoying my ace 10 of, not suited, but ace and 10 on this board is almost certainly the best hand. Guy in the middle calling has probably just got himself like jack 10 or something like that. This guy could have us beat, but, can't fold now, that's for sure. All right. Got to start ourselves the old puppy dog feet. All right. That's right. I guess actually I missed that he had a pair, so we were even drawing. I'm glad he didn't have queen 6 of clubs, and I'd just be like, we got it! And then we didn't. But we did, so great. Anyway, back to your question, sir. I'm sure that was meant a little in the extreme, but obviously it is kind of short in any circumstances. It is kind of short. For a while there, especially like August and I would say like August and the first half of September, I was so busy. It was crazy. I mean, I was flying from like, there was like that 3-day stretch where I went from like New York to Vegas to LA to Vegas. Didn't sleep that whole time. Did events in every place. Like I started in New York from my house in New York, and then went to Vegas, did work in Vegas, flew to LA, did a charity event in LA, drove back home, and then did a video. Something like that. It was like crazy, like 36 hours that were just like insane. And that, I was on a much more like busy, aggressive travel schedule, stuff like that, doing more like media things and just like, it was all great and I loved it. But, it was also crazy for my like sanity levels. Like the last month has been so much better for my sanity, literally my sanity, just because I've been mostly in a single place, haven't had to deal with lots of little things. I've built a team of people that I can rely on. Actually, funny enough, one of the things that has helped me significantly, there was a back like months ago when I was talking about needing someone that could help me, worked out perfectly. There was a little Run It Up warrior that lived very close to here who had offered his help with life, the Run It Up life around here, and he's been awesome. So that helped a lot. Any day I can not leave the apartment. It's always a great day. And I don't get too many of those, but he makes those happen more often than they were happening, that's for sure. So that helped a lot, We recruit from within here at Run It Up. That's right, Anyway, boy, this has not been I've not answered a single thing you've written here. But to come to my actual question, what are you doing besides poker? You feel that now, when you turned $5 into a fortune, there are other things to follow and concentrate on, and what are those things? Well, I've talked about it a little bit. I do a bunch of different things. I still love poker. Poker is great. I'll always play poker to some degree. I actually am looking forward to being able to travel the circuit eventually again. Like, by the time that I'll be able to, like, play the like Phil Hellmuth schedule of events, so he just plays the biggest ones. I think I can follow Phil Hellmuth around the tour for a little while. I'm excited about that. But for now, like, I'm loving this, like, the business focused stuff, building, like, just working hard on stuff, trying to be creative with different challenges than the last 6 or 7, 8 years of poker really let me do. Like, I've just been able to. I'm lucky enough to be able to explore different passions and be able to do different cool things. And, you guys have seen a lot of them as they're developing. I'm sharing them with you guys. We're doing lots of UFC related stuff. I'm doing stuff with Ultimate Poker, helping them out with a lot of their content and stuff like that. So you guys will see. There are cool things on the horizon. And as far as, like, specific details, yeah, they're cool things. Cool business. It's a variety. I do a lot of things, I don't know. Managed to flop ourselves a 3 straight flush. That's pretty sweet. Gonna start here with a bet. I think $5 will accomplish probably just as often as $6 will accomplish what we're looking to do there. Thanks for answering. Thanks for giving the Fernando community a little insight as to what you were doing while you're not running it up, bitch. Peace. Maximilian. Thanks, Maximilian. Yeah. So, yeah. Why am I so busy is the question. The other thing for me is, like, the way that I work, generally speaking, and it's the way, like, my dad is. It's the way, like, my grandfather was. Like, we're the kind of people where when it's time to work, we just work. That's all we do. Like, it's like, when I do nothing, I do nothing. Let's be real. And I'm definitely guilty of having done that a lot. Especially when I had poker as, like, an excuse / like, not necessarily a crutch, but when I had poker as, like, that was, money was just coming in, online poker was easy, I definitely didn't challenge myself as much as I could have. And these days, like, to have found several things that I have a passion for, like, I just want to spend all my time working on those things, and just building them. And one of the biggest things, obviously, is Run It Up. Like, I've been loving working on this kind of stuff, thinking about, like, videos and casting and just trying to improve. And look how much, like, don't get too, like, sad on me over there. I don't want to hear no crying, all right? But ain't no crying in poker. But I think that if you even look back, like, if you watch 5 minutes of any of the first like 10 run-it-ups and then watch any of the last 20, they're so much better now than they were in the beginning. I mean, and I've really been working at that, and I mean, obviously practice and experience has helped a lot, which was one of my reasons for wanting to do Run It Up in the first place. But I never thought that it would be like it is now, of course, and where you guys have been so awesome and so supportive, and I'm very, very appreciative of all of that. And it's been awesome, and I really do love it. So thank you so much. Don't cry, please. Please, no crying, please. Then we'll all start crying, This we're not watching The Notebook over here, okay? That's ladies' night. Ladies' night, that's right. I don't know what that voice is all about. I don't know what that voice is. The only high-pitched voice that I really like is the Nerd Rage voice. That's my favorite one, I just laugh all the time at that. Also, I like the Anderson Silva one. No respect. No respect, nothing. I love it. I don't know what to tell you. It's great. Right. Nah, not in that kind of answer mood. Let's pull a different question. Let's see. Nah. I don't usually deny questions on camera. People are going to be upset. I'm not, like, throwing them in the trash. I'm just putting them back in the pile, I can't. That's not a bad question, but I'm not. There are some good ones, but I'm in like I'm not in like a serious poker mood. We did that. This was a long video, but we did that already once. I'm not in the mood for this guy with his little raises, I'm a little suspicious of this fella here, This Comatose, which is a great name, by the way. Comatose is a great name, by the way. I think we just fold because our hand is so bad. I really want to do something aggressive here, either by raising or calling, but, we're going to be quitting in an orbit, which is worth noting because re-raising and having him re-raise and just having him have it, we're not trying to set up we're not playing a 5-hour long match here where we're going to have to really shut that guy down, exploit his tendencies. If our hand was better, if we had ace queen, there is no way I would have folded ace queen to that guy. Yeah, here, what do you got? So I think that there's no way I would have folded anything decent against that guy. And I think Queen Jack is just barely bad enough. I raised under the gun, he could definitely have bluffed us there for sure. I'm very suspicious that he did bluff us there, in fact. But, I think that given the exact situation, what's going on, we haven't really done anything too crazy, I suppose. But I don't know if he knows us, knows Run It Up. I don't know if he has any clue about anything. He might be attacking us because we made the little smiley face in chat. Who knows? I think folding is okay. It pains me. In case you can't tell, I'm very pained right now. All right. Club, not the worst of cards. Is it the best of cards? No. Best of cards would have been the old 7 of blue, but going to try to bet once more at least. That's right. All right. Let's see. Oh, great question. This is exactly the kind of question that I'm looking for. This is perfect. Dearest J. Carver. All right, I like it. Dearest J. Carver. I like that you have a longer section and then you have a shorter version. I like it. That's great. It's great. Points to you, sir. Dearest J. Carver, please tell me. All right, I'll go through it because you don't actually explain your question in the end. But starting back as far as Doyle, Slim, Roberts, all old school legends, to Ivy, Cunningham, Juanda, Daniel, Jason Mercier, and I assume you mean Jason Mercier and his crew. To me, my group of friends, all of the greatest poker players have had a quality group of friends. It's fairly true. There are a couple exceptions to that, but even those guys that I think could be exceptions, like the Isildurs of the world, right, who I'm I have a ton of respect for, and are sometimes better because they're almost pure, and no one's infiltrated their thought process. They've figured things out no one else sees, and no one can really exploit them because their thought process is self-contained. They don't post on forums. They don't talk about poker with other people. So I definitely think that you can definitely be a lone wolf and succeed. But it definitely helps to have a group of poker players, that's for sure. And your question here is, how do I find such a group of quality poker players, and how do I infiltrate such a group? And thanks, you're welcome, Brian. Well, thanks for your question, Brian. Good question. I think it's going to be hard usually to infiltrate a group, right? I think the best thing you can do is try to befriend poker players that are slightly better than you, not massively better than you, slightly better than you. And when you work with them and then work hard, analyze hands, show work on the math stuff, work on, bring whatever you're best at, bring that to the table and help people with what they're not good at. Could be live poker, could be PLO, could be math, could be simple finances. It could be that you've just got a lot of money. it could be that you'll work extra hard or you'll grind a lot or whatever it is. Try to bring something to the table and then contribute that. And I think that will help. And I think it's a natural thing. If you're playing poker enough, it's very hard to meet people online, but I think there are lots of online poker communities. There's one on Reddit. The one that I started out on was Something Awful's poker forum. 2+2 is a very common one that people meet up on, although I don't know if that's true anymore. But I think that you can definitely meet people online that are at a similar skill level that you might be able to hook up with that way. And, live is obviously the place where you can easily meet people if you're trying to. It might be tough, and not everyone is a great candidate for, the friendship necklace? The friendship. I feel like we've done this 4 times today. I've just ran myself into a dead end, and I'm they're just not good enough for the friendship. Yeah. Let's just go with they're not good enough for the friendship. That makes sense. But you know, like I think that's this what you got to do. You just got to try to find yourself like a couple of people who know people, and then just, you know, once you actually like go and try, like I would guess that you can meet people that way. But for me, the best place to have like discussions, the way that I learn was the best place for me. Well, I don't know if that's necessarily true actually, but one of the best places for me to learn was online, and to like watch, you know, read something that's spelled out. I want to see something that's like, why did you do this? I don't want to hear this. I want to understand what you saw, why you did this. And for me, videos were great, you know, like watching someone that was able to, you know, talk about their thought process clearly and coherently, and use words that I understood that were, you know, like, and I've always pointed back to Phil Galfond and Cole South as my two like video heroes that really influenced my game. I think like finding people through coaching or through other like, you know, forum type situations is probably the best way if you're really looking to improve and make like find a group like that. That's probably the best place to go and do that. All right, so we ran it up this video, didn't we? We started with 1637.07 and managed to win $86.25. The heater is alive and well. 1723.32. That's pretty sweet. Let's do a turn in chat. All right. So, we did it. We ran it up. 3 videos, 4 videos, maybe even in a row. We're on a heater. It's great. The Run It Umpkin, that's right. The Run It Umpkin, which you guys can't see over there, but, you know, hopefully you've been seeing from the other camera the entire time. There's that little... Oh, cameras are hard. There's the little Run It Umpkin. That's right. Doing good over there. Keep it, you know... Keep up that good work, Run It Umpkin. Anyway, thanks so much for watching. As always, guys, hope you enjoyed this video. As always, I'll be posting most of my Run It Up related material for the time being over on facebook.com/jcarterpoker. So check that out and add me if you're not already, haven't already done so. Also, thanks so much if you have subscribed. I really appreciate it. You guys are awesome. We're almost going to hit 10,000 subscribers probably sometime next week, which is awesome. It's so great. I really appreciate that. If you haven't subscribed yet, that's the best way you can support me and make sure you get instantly notified every single time that I do anything on YouTube. It's great. It's like a built-in stalker on YouTube. It's great. You should do it if you haven't. Anyway, thanks so much for watching as always. I really appreciate it. I will see you guys back for more tomorrow. Thanks so much for watching, guys. Peace.